friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley, and today we are going to talk about how another person's energy can affect you. Can a relationship in your life create symptoms such as chronic fatigue or even physical symptoms? And the answer, in my opinion, yes. And we don't have to just define it or refine it just to a person. It could also be a place, a thing, a time in your life that can actually affect the bioenergetic field around you and can create fatigue in that field, openings in that field where you can actually leak energy out or pull energy in through the biofield that may not be the best for you. So we want to explore how we absorb or react to another person's energy, their field, and what we can do about it. So I wrote down a few things here. I want us to understand the human biofield. I don't claim to be an expert in it. There are really great practitioners out there that could do a better explanation. So if you guys hear any explanations of mine and can improve on it, you know I want to hear from you. Please send me that information because I love to give more information out about this subject because it's so interesting to me. Also, how can the external frequencies around you influence you? And then thirdly, we want to talk about ancient wisdom and frequency awareness. So we're going to talk about how they can influence you and what awareness we need to help us try our best to protect us from frequencies that may not be the best for us. And then we're also going to add in there, what are some of these signs and symptoms that you need to pay attention to realize that you could be affected by somebody else's external energy. So I have a few more points, and I hope I can get to all of them. Because when we are aware of the signs and symptoms, we can learn some therapies or certain techniques that could help us protect ourselves from that frequency input from somebody else. So first of all, let's go back to number one. We want to talk about understanding the human biofield. And there is a connection to the nervous system, the fascia, and there's also a connection to the heart-brain connection. So I don't want to speak on this too quickly because to me it's a very important subject, but it can be simplified down. Now, in your nervous system has wiring, and that wiring is connecting your brain, your central nervous system, your spinal cord, to the peripheral nervous system, which is the nerves that go out to your arms and your legs, your limbs. Now, what's happening is that there's also small tubules that carry chi, bipolar or both directional, as you could say, electrical energy through your muscles and your fascia as well. So there's the connection there. You have fascia and muscles, which have these meridian lines. Now, I'll pull up my Chinese medicine doll. If you can see me on camera here, you'll see that this doll has tons of lines on it, and those are meridians. And they'll carry electricity on both sides. There's circuits on both sides. If you can imagine, one long highway on each side of the body carrying electricity through the meridian tubes to certain organs at certain times of day to give them energy to perform their optimal function at a particular time of day. I hope that makes sense. So there's 12 on each side. They're running through the fascia, and they are working in tandem with your nervous system because your nervous system is telling your muscles how fast to react, if you touch something that's hot, if you have an external nerve stimulation, like a stress that irritates your body and your brain and tells you to react. They're carrying electrical signals, but in some way they're carrying it through two different mediums. One's through the nerve wiring, as you can see, like when you do an autopsy, you can see all the nerves running through the body, and the other is going through the fascia system, which is very hard for people to see, and for a long time it wasn't proven. But now, Russian, Swiss, French, Chinese medicine scientists have found these tubules, and they use radioactive dye and found that there was electricity running through the fascia. Now, think about this. You have electricity running through these 12 meridians, this long highball on each side. You have electricity running through your nerves. And so what occurs is that as electricity is running from point A to point B, the speed of the electron, the chi, through an area along that wiring from point A to point B, it is electrical. Does that make sense? And it will create vibrational patterns around the wire. It will create a magnetic field around the wiring. So visualize that in your brain. You have a wire, like in your wall, you have electrical wiring from the light bulb to the switch on the door. And you turn on the switch and the electricity flows from the wiring up to the light bulb and the light bulb turns on. Okay, so the speed of that electricity going up to the light bulb can create magnetic fields around the wiring as the electricity is passing through the wire. So you have this huge magnetic field being produced around the wire because of the electricity speed. I know I'm overusing this, but I'm telling you that's what happens. So it creates an electromagnetic field. This is happening through the meridian wiring or the meridian tubules in your fascia. It's creating these small electromagnetic fields throughout your body, all around these meridians. It also is producing it around nerves, very subtly. So you have not only the electromagnetic fields coming off your nerves, but also from the meridians. Further yet, there are certain fields of study that talk about the heart-brain resonance, or even further, we can go deeper into Ayurvedic when they talk about chakras. There are great Ayurvedic practitioners out there that are so brilliant and so smart, and I literally am just at their genius. But they talk about certain areas like vortexes of energy that occur at the crown of the head, the forehead, the throat, the heart, the digestion or the upper digestion, the lower navel, even into the root area, right around the reproductive area. Now, these are chakras. Some say they're related to certain color spectrums, Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Now, the chakras are emitting a swirl. So if you ever look that up on, social media or on Instagram or on Google, you're going to see that there are these small energy vortexes that are emitted from these small chakras. Now, they say that there's many small chakras throughout the elbows, the wrists, the hands, all over the body. I'm not an expert on that. I don't claim to be, but I think it's so interesting. There have been some psychologists, I know this is a lot of information, but I want you to understand this Biofield. There are psychologists that have noticed that through thermography, through electrical and thermal radiation, that there are high amounts of output around where the chakras are supposed to be located. And some psychologists have done research and said that they noticed that the biofield, yes, we're going to talk about Kirlian photos, but we're not going to go too deep into that. But the biofield, the electromagnetic spectrum, can be expanded very far out or very contracted, and it could be contracted around those points of the chakras when the chakras are not spinning at their full capacity. So if a chakra is weak, it's not emitting the energy it needs to emit. And they have found that there is some correlation between what we call the nerve ganglion chains that run along your spine. So it's all interacting. So if you are a nerve doctor or a nerve practitioner, neurological, they say that these small, like the cervical thoracic ganglion, the chain of nerves that are running outside the vertebral column that's connecting all your muscles and your organs right through your spinal cord, that they have made a huge correlation through the activity of those neurons in those particular areas around the throat, around the chest, around the navel, all the areas where the chakras on the front side are showing distortions or energy. They've made a correlation that there's a connection to the nerves right as it passes straight through the body to the area near the spine. So there's all these connections. The spine has a connection to the chakras. Your body has so much electricity running through it. And in our culture today, we often think that we only want to verify or view the world through biochemical reactions and blood draws and saliva testing. And I cannot tell you how many people will come into the office in the past, not so much now. And, it's people who say they have a very scientific mind, and I agree they do, and they want proof, and they think that when they're talking about chi, they're talking about meridians, that they need real science, and they need all the insulin and all the hormones, and they need blood testing, which I agree you do. But you can't discount the effects of electricity and the field of biofield around you that's not visible just because you want to see something on paper. In fact, most of the world's invisible to us. We can't see the light spectrums that are coming outside of the visible light spectrum. So to say that I have to see something to have proof it just confines you to a small area of red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, and violet. At that very small spectrum. And when people say that, I'm a very scientific minded, when people say that, I'm always wondering, like, how much science or how deep do you want to go in science? Because science, there is so much great research out there that you would have to keep going deep to prove everything about the human body. So I didn't want to get on a tangent. I'm saying that we have to understand and realize that there is an invisible spectrum around the body that's there and we can't see it, but it is making huge effects on our physiology. Now, when we want to see the effects of the electrical activity, then we have to start to realize that as that impulse, as that frequency is emitted off of our body, the areas in our body that are injured. Now, that's where the biochemistry all correlates. So I don't want to get too deep into it because it'll get confusing, because it's very, very detailed at times when we talk about the deep intrinsic connection between biochemistry and the fields around our body. But if you realize that there's so much connection in the body creating these fields, if you got an infection, let's say in your lungs, then the biofield that's emitted from your lungs may be decreased in comparison to other areas of the body where the field could be expanded. So the infection can reduce the energetic flow in the organ, reducing the impulse or the energetic output from that area of the body. Okay? So I think you guys can visualize that. Low energy, low biofield. Now, that's happening internally. And we can have infections roaming around in our bodies in certain areas. And I'm not blaming infections. There just could be emotions. There could be infections. There could be biochemistry changes, too much stress, too much cortisol imbalance that can really affect the biofield around our body. But this is the next question. We have all the internal, and you have this biofield, and you already got to handle what's going on internally. But what happens when your environment can put pressure from the outside in? Why is it that you can go to a hospital that unfortunately has many people that are sick or hurting or injured? You go into crowded spaces. You can go into your break room, your lunchroom at your office. You can go into a tense conversation and it leaves you drained. Does that happen to you? And the biggest thing is that we know that it can cause that kind of problem. And one of the things they talk about in this biofield mechanism is that if a person or something can affect you and drain you, it's because your outer biofield membrane is weakened and porous. Like there's small pores in it that somehow the frequencies of somebody else slips right through. Now, I can get into all the logistics. I love logistics about biofield and biotuning and frequency and tuning forks. But it all makes sense. Some people still think it's crazy, but you can't deny, even if you're a person of science and need proof, I can tell you guys if you're listening and you need that, but you can't tell me that when you walk into a room and you go around somebody and their vibration and their vibe and their juju is not good for you. Can we all just agree on that? That happens. Whether you want scientific proof about everything health, but when you get around somebody, maybe you had a bad relationship, maybe you had a bad family upbringing, but you know that when somebody was there that did not agree with your energy, and you can use that word, it did not agree with your energy, you felt drained, you felt tired, you felt like you can't keep going on around this person. I just can't handle it. I just can't keep moving forward. Have you had that? Now, your membrane, your outer biofilm, I say biomembrane, biofield membrane, if it's strong and you are working at strengthening your body internally, cleaning out infections, working on your own emotional stress, working on your physical body, strengthening the aspects of your body, your biofield, the electricity that's running through the meridians, through your nerves, will create huge, strong fields around your body, and you'll have a very strong membrane, a very strong biofield, which will, if you're strong internally, emotionally, if you have boundaries, if you know which environments and people and things that are good for you, and you say, no, I do not want the things that drain me in my life, or you've worked hard at it and you've worked at putting the right positive people around you, you are strengthening your biofield to be receptive to the vibrations and frequencies of others that can attune to you, attenuate. So that's why you attract somebody that could see eye to eye on things or reinforces the things that you love about this world. When they attune to you, your frequencies, people use the word lightly, but it's really your wavelength patterns. The wavelength, the length of a wave coming off somebody else matches the wavelength coming off of you. And when they match, they overlap each other like the waves of the ocean. And when you have waves that are in the right, correct, perfect wavelength and they overlap each other, they amplify each other. They get larger. They get higher. The deeper troughs, the higher the crest. So somebody around you gives you energy, gives you life, gives you vitality. I love hanging around with such and such because he or she is such a cool person. I totally vibed with them. So you have that protective biofield because you're only receiving those things that would actually strengthen and heighten your waves. On the other hand, if you felt like you've been torn down by somebody in the early areas of your life, or even right now, if a person, place like work or school, a thing in your life, a trauma from your past, is playing over in your mind, in your brain, your body's experienced a trauma, or you're in a negatively toxic environment, it trains your body not only to be aware of that type of wavelength, but you have to accommodate to it. You have to attenuate to it to handle it. That's how you have to, when I say accommodate, it means you've adapted to it. So I have somebody that's very toxic in my life. Well, I better not say this to that person or they'll blow up or they'll get angry. I better not do this around my boss because they may just blow up. Or, my friend does not like it when I talk to other friends because they get jealous. So I better keep that down low. What you're doing is you're attenuating, you're attuning to their frequency so you don't hurt their feelings. but you're shifting your wavelengths in your body to match the frequency of the other person. Okay? Trying to match them. So you spend a lot of time matching the frequencies. You go into a hospital. What happens? You feel different frequencies and vibrations coming off other people. And to handle it, you have to attune to it. You have to adapt to it. Unfortunately, you have to change your wavelengths because you're trying to do what? Survive in that environment. So what happens in your unhappy marriage or unhappy relationship? You've tried to adapt. Now, if it's not towards, or now if it doesn't reinforce your normal, happy, joyous, they use the word joy. Everybody says, there's a difference between happiness and joy. I understand that argument. But when they say, when you have joyous things in your life, you know what makes you joyful or what makes you have passion. And there's a wavelength that you had to shift, and now it makes you not passionate or not joyful. You know in your heart of hearts where you want to go, where you need to be back at, or where you want to get to. What that does to your biofield is this. The biofield then changes its expansion. It changes its shape. It changes its strength. It changes the outer membrane. So if you are basically adapting to somebody else's frequency, you're going to change your membrane to accept those types of frequencies because you've had to adapt to them all this time. So what happens is you will start to attract other people, places, things, ideas that are reinforcing those negative vibrations and frequencies. To me, that is very, very injurious to the biofield. You will actually dampen your biofield, create damage, and you'll keep receiving those frequencies, and your body will get tired internally. Your organs will get tired internally because they are trying to biochemically, hormonally, energetically, emotionally adapt to all the things that are coming in through that biofield. And it's no fault of our own. No fault. I'm just saying that's what happens to all of us. So we have this coming through our body, into our body. And we start to feel the effects of it. They're influencing us. We start to get this pattern of frequency in our organs internally from this outside input. It's coming through the outside biofield internally. We're adapting. Our organs are getting tired because they're having to work extra hard to meet those frequencies through our hormonal system, through our blood flow, through our lungs, through our heart, kidneys, etc. Could a person that always had a heart problem or a kidney disease, if you hung around them, could that influence your heart strength or your kidney strength? You better believe it. Have you ever done that? Even if you're a hard science person, have you ever been around somebody and they said they had heart fatigue and you yourself said, wow, why does my heart feel weird after I talked to them and hung around with them? No fault of their own. They may not be a bad person or a negative person. I'm saying, but you just felt it because you're a kind heart and you're trying to adapt to it. You're trying to have meaningful, strong conversations, but you feel it. Why? Because you adapted to it. And in fact, if you're a caregiver, getting caregiver syndrome, and you want to help people so much, you will gladly accept the frequencies coming off somebody else to try to strengthen them. All the while you absorb their energy, and they will feel great around you. And that's why some individuals who don't feel the greatest, who may not have the strength in their body they need, will feel good connecting with people that have high vibrations. No fault of their own. They're not trying to drain you, but they could possibly. So you had to be very careful. Even when people have good intentions, but their energy's low, you have to make sure you mindfully follow and feel your biofield and your energetic field around certain individuals. And if it is draining to you, even though the person has no intention of draining you, not being an energy vampire, you have to just be mindful of your biofield. You have to strengthen up. You have to get your body stronger so you can keep your field stronger, so that if you're around those individuals, you may be able to give a lot of energy and be able to be supportive, but you're not draining yourself completely all the time. And that other individual needs to take the steps with nutrition, herbs, biochemically, emotionally, doing the emotional work, doing the physical work to try to get their body stronger. Because if their vibration gets higher and they see eye to eye on how you view health, you guys will reinforce each other. I think it's the coolest thing. It's like two tuning forks that are basically set and shaped to the same note. You ping the first tuning fork and get it close to the second tuning fork that hasn't been touched, and that second tuning fork will have a small vibration. It'll start vibrating with the original tuning fork. That's what you want to do in life, is find the people that are attuned with you, that are strong and have a good, positive energy, and even if negative things come in life, they can adapt and bounce to it. Now, we've gone through those areas. So what happens when you start to notice those frequencies and how those affect you? When you become aware, you have to make sure that you start to pay attention to the areas of your body that get depleted. So that's ancient wisdom. If you're around somebody, let's say they don't necessarily have a health condition that they're aware of, but you have a protective energy, a wei qi. Wei qi is like a protective shield around you, that biofield. And if you're around anything, a person, place, or thing, and you feel a draw on an area of your body, like in your chest, like your heart, your digestive system, your stomach area, your reproductive area, you need to take note of that. Why? Because if it gets depleted in that area, it usually means that that area of your biofield is connected to your generational past. So if you're around something that's not great and you feel it in your chest, you have to look back in your history and say, did my mom or my dad or my family, my grandparents, generations back, have chronic heart problems? Mine did. I had to be very careful. I had to slow down in work. They're telling me I had to slow down. Personally, that's what they've told me. Because I am so used to going as hard as I can at work and overworking my heart and disconnecting from it that my heart is saying, hey, I'm working too hard. You have to become emotionally frequency aware of the organ imbalance. If you had digestive issues, did your family always have gallbladder issues or stomach issues or ulcerative colitis or chronic IBS? Some of you out there are raising your hand. Don't do it while you're driving. I always say that. But you're going, that is me. Yes, my whole family's always had that. Your field has a high connection to your genes, your DNA vibration. In fact, your DNAs are made of piezoelectric crystals, and they are refracting light all day. And that light frequency basically is giving out vibrations and wavelengths from your genes. And they can measure them. They can measure the light frequencies coming off people's chromosomes. It's crazy cool. But when we are aware of where we're drained, and we know our generational past, you then connect that draining point. Oh, it's in my heart. Then you need to also connect with your emotional body. I want you guys out there to look into your generational past right now. My family has a whole history of dementia. That's brain, right? My family had heart issues. Yes, my family had reproductive issues. They always had miscarriages, unfortunately. They always had testicular issues, prostate cancer. When you look into that, you have to look at the emotions behind it. That's why I always say look into a Chinese medicine organ emotion chart. So if you find it, then what you're going to do is go back and look at your generational past and go, okay, yes, they had heart issues, but my family was never joyful. My mom or dad was never joyful. They were never happy. They had no passion in life. They lived day to day, making the ends meet, and they didn't have a fire for life. Their heart was overworked. They worked all the time. They were so tired they could not enjoy anything. And you know what? As I get older, I'm finding myself not being able to enjoy anything, and all I do is work. That's when you know you have to take herbs and nutrition to support your heart, so that you can raise the strength in the electrical patterns around the heart and the chest and the arteries to increase the vibrational biofield around the heart. So that when you are around anybody or anything external that could actually drain you, you'll stop feeling it in your chest. I'm telling you, it works with my patients. I do it. I take Shen. I'll take HemoGuard. So I love Supreme Nutrition products. They're my friends. I mean, they're my friends and close friends, but I'm just telling you this great product. But Shen and HemoGuard is amazing. HemoGuard cleans the blood. It helps take out all those particles. Shen helps strengthen the heart. I'll take one of each in the morning at night. I'm saying I would research that Shen and HemoGuard. If you have heart issues, I take it to keep my body going. With this, I do want you to realize that as you start to become aware of your biofield and where you're, may you have injury, then you find the organ, you look at that emotions chart, you start realizing, okay, what happens when I know the emotions? Then you start to look at how I can do emotional work to clean it out. I like finding practitioners that do NET, neuro-emotional technique. You can write that down, neuro-emotional technique. There's a great website, NET, netmindbody.com. They have good practitioner listing there. There's great practitioners that do QNRT to help you release the emotions. If you don't want to go to a practitioner, you can do tapping, EFT tapping. It's amazing. Emotional freedom technique. Check it out. It's awesome. I love EMDR, eye movement therapy. I love neurofeedback. Neurofeedback is amazing therapy for the brain to reset. When you start to help realize these emotions, you start doing that and taking the herbs to help heal the organ, your biofield gets super strong. Now, so you know that when you're around somebody, I want you to pay attention to this. I wrote this little list down. You got to be careful of sudden mood shifts, fatigue, and anxiety without obvious cause. You want to be sure that if you're around somebody, if you're starting to feel heaviness, like you're not yourself after your interaction, I don't feel like myself, I feel super heavy, that's something to watch out for. If you get brain fog, literally brain fog, you can't think after you've had an interaction, or you have digestive changes like bloating, constipation, a sudden bowel movement when you're around somebody, someplace, something, some environment, those are signs that your external energy is being affected. Write those down. And I know you know this because you are paying attention. You're going, yeah, that happens when I'm around this person or this place or thing. You know that. Okay. Now, take notes of that. And there are a few things that we can do. I talked about the EFT tapping. There's a few other ones. I know this is a long list, but you need to research it, guys. This is what it's here for. Here's a few tools. PEMF. Pulsed electromagnetic frequency, PEMF mats. I really love different brands out there that are just literally like using PEMF mats that use crystal formations in the mat that emit certain types of light and frequencies that are on the body to help heal the chakra areas and heal the body and heal through frequency. PEMF devices. There's one here. Let me see. I want to tell you about this really cool device here. I love it. I may not have it right here. Well, I don't have it right here, guys. But there's a few good PEMF. Sorry, guys. I just met this really great couple. They're out of Las Vegas, and it may be Vibrant. I would look for Vibrant's PEMF mats, but I can't say it's exactly the name of it. But please find a good PEMF device. And other are frequency tuning fork therapy. They call it Biofield therapy. For you guys out there that do Biofield tuning, it is so interesting They can find where certain parts of the body have been affected by the placement of the tuning fork, by the sound of the tuning fork, by the distance off the body. There are some amazing practitioners out there that do it, and I am telling you, it has affected me tremendously. And why is it that you can get to a room and has a certain type of sound or music that you feel upbeat or you feel down? Why? Because sound changes you. Frequency tuning fork therapy. Bioresonance mats. Check that out. Light therapy, red light therapy, infrared saunas, violet light therapy. I love Sunlighten. They're my friends, Sunlighten saunas. They have great saunas, great devices. I also love biolight.shop. My friend Dr. Mike Belkowski has great panels that he sells. Great tools like the toothbrush that has the blue and red light to help heal the gums. Amazing stuff. Biolight.shop. Sunlighten saunas. Here's a couple other things. Here's some practice. Breathwork. Learn how to use breathwork. There are so many great practitioners online, but find the one that resonates with you and learn how to breathe through the diaphragm. Learn how to control your breathing because you'll control your vagus nerve. It's about vagal nerve toning. I'm giving you a lot, but I want you to write this down. There's breathwork. You don't have to do all of these. Just pick one or two and see if you like that. Breathwork. Vagus nerve toning. There's a great device I use called a CES Ultra. CES Ultra. It's helping veterans with PTSD and anxiety and insomnia. By a small device you connect to your ears, and it puts a small electrical charge through your brainstem and helps reset and tonify your vagus nerve. It's amazing. CES Ultra. Grounding, getting out, putting your feet in water, putting your feet in the earth, and be careful of parasites. Putting your feet in the dirt, or going and hugging a tree, or getting out in nature, just being around nature, just taking a walk every day or every other day in an area where there's nature and there's rocks and wood and water. Salt baths. Love salt baths. Get you a tub with lots of salt in it. Put a pound or two of Epsom salt, some magnesium. Some people put some bentonite clay. But if you get in there and you put good salts, some people use Baja Gold. I know Gary Breck is big about that, but there's different, companies out there. Lots of good salt. Feed your body like you're out in the ocean. They will help with healing your frequencies. So I want you also to, with all this, I want you to take a look at your life and find out who influence your life and you have no boundaries around them. You have to have boundaries. Make sure you look at, there's plenty of books. There's one called Boundaries. And remember, you can use sound therapy. There's holosync therapy, where you can get left and right brain therapy, like where you can get those two to sync up. Holosync therapy, sound therapy. You can even do light therapy with the saunas. There are so many things to help with our biofield. Sound therapy, like tuning fork therapy, but even certain music therapy. How it shifts the biofield. If you know you have positive, enriching music that you love, like I know a lot of people love their gospel music. They love music that's meditative music. It just helps their biofield. Pay attention to that. Spend time listening to good, positive things, not the negative things. I just want you to be reminded that not every emotion or every thought you feel belongs to you. You have to become aware of it. And don't blame yourself. Give yourself grace. Give the other person grace, or other thing grace. So what I want you to do is to remember, as you become aware, there are these practices. I want you to look into them. Modify them to what you can do. Don't be overwhelmed. Take this list I gave you and just look into it and see if it's something you love. Try it. Put it into your daily practice. You'll feel better. I guarantee it. Guys, if you have any questions about this type of info, please send me those questions and comments on the podcast. If you love this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe to the podcast, and send this to anybody else there that you may think has been going through this, or you yourself. Just listen to it and see if you can glean something from it. Hit the bell on there so you get reminded when a new episode's out. And I also have a course called the Emotional Body course. It's on about emotions, how it affects your body. And I also take these questions from the podcast and I answer them in my membership. I have a membership where I go every week. I do a Q&A, a live Q&A, and we talk about these things face to face. I have a small group of people that just love to do it. We talk every week, and we talk about all the things that we talk about on the podcast in a deeper format. So look into that. Also has some the free course. I have a course, that's in the membership, and it's called the Emotional Body Course. And I want you guys to remember that when we're talking about emotions, this is the seriousness of it. And I want you to realize that you can do things within your power and your grasp to help change your biofield, to affect the environment around you. All right, guys. I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I'm glad I got to meet with you. So until next time, from all of us here at the Ancient Health Podcast, I appreciate it. Have a blessed day.